All right, we're recording. So this is the first session of week 2, I guess. Week start on Sunday? Yeah, that's right. So this is the intro to the take-home assignment. So I don't know. I can do more setup if you want, John, or you can just kind of take it away, whatever you want.
Before you take over, John, real quick,
okay.
I just want to reiterate that this is totally a pilot thing at this point. And there are kinks. There are, of course, kinks. So as you come across those things that maybe didn't go so well, things that did go really well and that you loved, please let us know so that we know what to keep, what to fix, what to completely get rid of. And if you have ideas on how to make things smoother, let us know. So Collab Lab, as you know, is completely built on feedback, and we value it and we need it. So share it with us in the Career Lab channel. Direct message me or Andrew if that's more comfortable for you. But please, please, please share your thoughts, and great work to you all. Okay, I'm done.
Yeah.
Okay, no worries. Actually, on a similar note, one thing that I think would be particularly valuable to hear back from folks is how long it took you to do this exercise, because we want to respect your time and make sure that we're not giving you more than we said we were. So just let us know. And with that, we can go ahead and jump right in. So let me share my screen. Just share the whole desktop. Sure, no, it's not.
There we go.
Okay, cool. So this is the sample take-home assignment. I will post this link into the chat. Career Lab Winter 2020. There we go. In Slack, and it's there. So as you all know, a lot of companies have these take-home assignments that they ask you to do. And it's basically just a way to get a code sample that they can look at and like see what your coding style is like and make sure that you can, write some code in a reasonable amount of time. Sometimes they're timed exercises, sometimes they're not. You can just take whatever time you need and you get it back when you get it back. This is a sample one that we use at New Relic. And what we aim for is for it to take 1 to 2 hours. The ones that we use for real, we've actually calibrated with a lot of different folks. We know how long it takes people at various levels. This one, since it's just the sample one that we give out, we don't have as much experience. I don't know exactly how long it takes folks at various levels to finish this. So hopefully it'll be an hour or 2, but we'd love to hear what it actually takes. The actual exercise is essentially, it's formatting some text. So you can see there's rules and stuff down here, but before we get to that point, what you'll need to do is get a local copy on your machine so that you can work on it. So what you want to do to get that is you come to the main site on GitHub, and this is a Collab Lab, so you're going to need one in your account. So the way, and this is all down below. This is all the step-by-steps with the screenshots. I think Stacie did that, which is awesome. Thank you, Stacie. You want to hit this fork button first, and that will say, where do you want to work it? If you're in a bunch of different organizations, I'll just make a fork in my own repo. And now it looks the same, but you can look at the URL. You can see it's now in my repo, and it is a fork of the one from the Collab Lab. So that's good, but you need to get it on your own machine. So then you're going to do, you clone the fork to your local machine. You can do it with this command that's right here. And again, screenshots. So you come up here to this download the code looking area. I don't have any public SSH keys in my GitHub account. I should have set that up before. This is a new laptop, sorry. This will probably be fine.
You can click on the HTTPS one, I think.
Oh, right. Yep, that's what I should have done. Thank you. Appreciate it. It's going to ask me for a password and stuff, but that's fine.
So Stacie has a question in the chat, John, which is, should we, the repo is set to private by default. Should we make it public or invite people? Do you have a preference?
I think it would be easier just to make it public. There's nothing secret about the exercise, and that just removes some steps. So
awesome. I'll make that happen right now.
Cool. I've now brought, I guess you can see the chat over there now on my screen, just since I'm sharing it. Hopefully I'll see if there are more questions in the future. Oops, pasted in the wrong place. clone again. As we were kind of mentioning before, I actually did not go through this ahead of time because I wanted to see what kind of problems might come up and show you how to fix them if they do. Get the password. My password manager, I highly recommend them. We use password for terminal. Okay, whatever. It's kind of behind the Zoom stuff, so I can't actually see it. GitHub. Just gonna copy that password. Paste it in. Failed. Okay, I should have done this beforehand, I guess.
This kitten is very interested in this take-home assignment. She like came over and is staring.
She's such a cutie.
Thank you.
You have 2 passwords saved for GitHub. Maybe try the second one.
That might be the issue.
If you can't get the password in right now, I'm happy to like take over and do a clone of it.
Okay.
No.
Just have my username too. See, I just did that.
This is very real world though.
Yeah, it sure is. Okay. All right, if that's okay, Stacie, I might just for a moment, if you want to take over and do this part.
Yep.
My apologies.
No worries.
It seemed like it was a clever idea to show you how to debug. What I would actually do to debug this would be to put my SSH key into the GitHub interface so that the SSH version would work, but that's probably beyond the scope of how much we want to go into right now.
Okay, so I will share my screen.
Cool.
Before I do that, let me.
So John, you need to stop your sharing.
Okay, sorry, I thought it would just automatically take over.
I don't think so. I don't know, maybe it does.
We just recently switched from BlueJeans to Zoom at my office, and so I'm still thinking of how everything works in BlueJeans. Every time I need to do something, like, wait, where's the button for that? So.
Oh, it doesn't get any better. Especially when you're screen sharing. Zoom is just, I mean, the UI is all in the way and stuff. It's pretty
okay.
Pretty bad,
so you're going to watch me do this from scratch. And one thing that I want to do with this is I want to look at the instructions too, just to see like, are we documenting exactly how to do this? Mm-hmm. So how to fork this repo. First things first, go to the repo. We're in it. Click the fork button. Hi, baby. I see you. Okay, so we're in here. Fork button.
There it is. Yep.
Stacie. We want to fork it for Stacie. Okay, and this is creating my version of it. Fork, fork, fork. Should only take a few seconds. It says, great. That seemed to work fine.
Yep.
Now, let's refer back to the instructions.
Which the instructions are also in your local fork.
Oh yeah, good point. Great point. Let's just go from there. Okay. So from your fork, we want to pull that down to our local machine using this command, git clone, and then the URL. So we get that by clicking the code, and copy this. And then from your terminal, let's see. Let's do like, what do I have here? Oh, okay, Stacie, let's go in there. CD take home. Okay, I'm gonna pop into, I probably don't need to. All right, fine, I'm just going to make a new directory. Make dir test. Okay, CD test. I don't want to like mess any of my other stuff up. Okay, so let's do the git clone and then paste in that URL. This is going to clone it. Let's CD into it. You can do ls if you want to see what it is. Take home assignment. So CD take home assignment. Baby, I hear you. Can you be patient? Okay, so now I'm in. I should be able to pull that up and start doing my work on it. So if I open WebStorm, hold on. File. You can't see this because I'm on another screen, but trust that I will pull it over as soon as it's up. I'm opening Stacie miscellaneous, take home assignment. Okay, open this. Okay, so if you see here, I now have.
We can see most of it. Oh, okay.
I'm
adjusting.
Spectacles like taking a minute here. Okay, so you can see if Spectacle were working as it should, which it's not, that the project is here. Great. So this is my version of the project now. You can go into the app.js and do whatever work you need to do to complete the project.
So
Let's
actually,
take a look. Oh, go ahead.
Let's look at that file a little more closely, because the only thing that you need to change, if you scroll down just a little bit.
Yeah, let me fix the sizing on it first, because.
I mean, you could just navigate to it and get up too. Is another way.
Oh, sure. Yeah, let's do that. So source, Mila, I hear you, baby. You have to be patient because I'm doing something.
So app.js, we have this transform text function. So everything, you shouldn't need to touch anything other than this little section here, 22 through 24. Like you can replace that with whatever you want, including function calls to other functions and things. But that's where your work is going to go. You're going to basically take that output variable, do some transformations on the text, and then just pass it into that set text output hook or state, whatever it's called. So other than that, the UI should work. I actually just did this before the meeting, and it did npm install and npm start, and it all my browser and worked and everything. So
from here,
the thing I didn't do is check that I had the right node version going, but you probably have your dev environment set up better than I do, Stacie. So I'm sure it's probably just going to work.
So npm install to make sure all your dependencies are up to date.
Yeah.
These kids are really having a heck of a time. How loud is that? How loud is that crying kid?
It's not bad.
It's audible, but it's fine.
I don't even know where he is.
When you mentioned it, is when I started hearing the kids crying. Like before, it was just background noise.
There's like being like a mom who has to work with like kids in the background all the time. I feel like there's a superpower in like distraction management. It's like there's like a full meltdown happening over here, but I'm just going to ignore it. npm start.
You had an error in the install. So what version of Node are you on?
Probably like, let's see. Oops, npm, what is it, V?
No, that's your NPM version. Node version.
Node V 12.
12. Huh.
I don't think that this error has anything to do with that.
Looks a lot like the error I had when I was on an earlier version.
This version is not compatible, yeah, but I'll try to do my best with it. Okay, so this is a warning. They're gonna try and do the best. I think if we do start, I would imagine it will still go. Let's see.
For what it's worth, if needed, I fixed the issue on my side. So you can't get it working over here, we can switch back.
Let's see what happens here. It's gonna run on. Help you do what? Take your shoes. Oh yeah, I'll fix your shoe in a second. See, here it is, perfect. So this is what it'll look like when you run npm start. You should be able to put your malformatted paragraphs here, submit it, and this should output the code, like the fixed version of it that you are going to code up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so as you make your transformations, then you kind of reload and hit submit, and you should see those transformations take place. And
totally.
When you get it to the right state, then you're done.
Yeah, and so when you're over here though, as well, you're gonna wanna make sure you're pushing up to this repo and not to this one. So do make sure you have your own forked version that is at your GitHub rather than the Collab Lab one. So as long as you follow that first thing, those steps in the README, fork the Collab Lab repo, go to your new version and clone that version, and then you'll work with it in the same way that you worked with your Collab Lab Smart Shopping List repo, where you set the upstream to your own fork of it and start committing and pushing your work there. Cool. So
Thanks, Stacie.
what do you all
Thank you.
think about that? Just a quick, like, high level too. So this next week is going to be very much about the interview process. And as John mentioned, this project is a large part of technical interviews a lot of the time. So in this week, you'll be having a job fit interview with the mentors that are listed in Notion under the job fit page. And then you'll also be having a technical interview with a mentor as well. In that technical interview, beforehand, you need to make sure that you send that mentor your repo for this forked project so they can look at the work that you've done, because that's the work that you'll be going over in your technical interview.
Yep.
So this week, do the take-home assignment. If you need help, if things get weird, let us know. Direct message your job fit interviewer, schedule that, do the job interview. Direct message your technical interviewer, schedule that, do it. In that meeting, you'll be going over this take-home assignment. Does that make sense? There's a lot, there's so much.
I have a small question about this.
Sure.
I know some take-home assignments, when they're linked to GitHub, they want to see your ability to like commit and how you, but this looks like it's more just, I guess, are you guys looking at how we do our commit history, or is this more just looking at the actual assignment?
Yeah, so I think actually that's a good segue. John, maybe you can go through sort of the rubric and what we're actually looking for.
Yeah, we have a rubric here. I'll go ahead and share my screen and share it with you. This is a little bit of a cut down version of the one that we use, but there we go.
It's super cut down, and I did it, so apologies if I cut out anything important.
I looked at it. I think this is fine. I think this is great. This is the essentials.
Could you bump up the size of that though a little bit, John?
Yeah, no problem.
Cool. Perfect.
More bigger. So it's basically judging on two categories here: correctness and code quality. Our version also has something about whether you're idiomatic in your usage of the language. The correctness is just based on, did you follow the instructions? Like, does it do the thing it's supposed to do? And I'll tell you, as a reviewer, I've reviewed so many of these, and the correctness is almost always pretty good. People can usually get it to do the thing. That's really not the thing you're mostly going to be judged on. I mean, if it doesn't work, that you will be judged on that. But what it usually comes down to more than that is the code quality section. So as you're going and writing your code, I would definitely, think about these areas. How are you structuring your code? How are the comments written? Just fix a typo there. How are you naming things? That's a big one that folks will often do that doesn't come out very well. This is one that you see a lot too. Is it a reasonably succinct code sample? Like, a lot of times you'll get something to work, but you can tell when you look at it that they were just doing. They got to a point, they're like, it doesn't quite work. I'm going to do something that didn't work. I'm going to do something else. No, it still doesn't work. Maybe if I do this, and then eventually they got it working, but the resulting structure is very complicated. It's very kind of like this and that, and you want to write your code in such a way that it's not just instructions to the computer. It's really, you want to be communicating with the programmer who has to work on it next. You want your code to say, this is how I work, and to be very clear and like kind of tell that story of the functionality and how it goes through. So if you pull something into a method, there should be a reason why you did that. It should be expressing something about, what does this method do? Why isn't it just written in line? Things like that. The comments, you don't want to do too excessive with the comments. That's something that you see a lot. People will write, I see occasionally there'll be a comment on almost every single line. And I think what they did is that they would write pseudocode first and all the steps, and then they would write the actual code, and they just left all those comments in there. I'm guessing. I've seen folks do that like in an interview. And think about whether your comment, when you're done, like, that's fine as a way to do it, but when you're done, look at all the code and think, like, do I need this comment here? Is it actually telling the next person something useful, or is it just a note for me as I was writing this? Take out the ones that aren't actually useful to the reader coming later. I think this is really a form of written communication as much as it is instructions for the computer. readable and easy to follow really just falls out of all of these other things. If your functions and your names are all well shows and you use good comments and the structure is good and it's succinct, it will be pretty readable. So this is kind of almost a summary. If there's something else going on, this would be where that would be caught. And then finally down here, it's just to continue or not. I also added a scoring guide to this just to make sure that all of the kind of calibration was the same for all the different reviewers, so that, you know, a 4 always means the same thing no matter who's giving you the 4. We're pretty close to the same.
Something, yeah, I'm wondering if we should have people do this in a PR and have a PR description and like a before and after and like some of those kinds of things as well. And that's sort of, that would mimic the process that we use in our projects as well. So, and it's a nice way to kind of encapsulate the whole change.
Sure.
That's something, yeah, we do that at Zapier when like we have people, they work on a branch and then they submit a PR for the branch, and that's how we know they're done.
Yeah, I think that's an extremely common pattern. That's what we do at New York as well. Every company I've ever worked.
Yeah.
So
okay.
We could do that. If we were going to do that, I feel like we should add some sections for like the PR description and comment history. Maybe we do care about that. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah. So we could add to the instructions that they should create a PR, and then add a line here or something about, and add the PR template maybe, and then I don't know, maybe that's overdoing it for this first time. This is a pilot.
Yeah, maybe limiting the scope would be better out of the gate.
Yeah, I feel like evaluating that it's not right, because most take-home assignments are not going to be public or in GitHub. And the reason for that is that you want to be looking at an individual's thing and not them go around and see what everyone else did for that take-home assignment and how they're public. So in general, the take-home assignments are not evaluated like that. They're just like a zip file that you submit, because they need to be private.
That's Zapier. We just have it be a private repo, and they submit a PR. And when they submit the PR, we actually have an automation that's set up to notify us that they're done, and a timer and all this kind of stuff. So there are lots of ways that it's done. But I think what you're saying, it is a common pattern, but I think it's not unheard of to have it be like this as well.
Yeah, for what it's worth, we do the same at New Relic. I don't do it for Ignite, but a lot of teams at New Relic do. And I think GitHub does the same thing. There's a lot of folks who do. Not surprisingly, GitHub, the company, has a lot of automation around GitHub, the product.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So this time we'll just keep it the same. You just submit your repo and whoever can go in and look. But I do like the idea of next time giving, because it just helps the interviewer kind of see what they're looking at, you know. So I like that for round 2.
Yeah. Okay, next time. So Stacie did have a question in the chat. So it's more around sort of timed projects, but how would you approach it if you didn't get all the way done? So, you know, like how would you kind of, I guess, communicate that, or, you know?
Yeah, that's a great question. What I would do in that situation is I would put it in the README. I would say in the README, clearly I did not have time to finish this, but here's what I would have done. Here would be my plan for the next few steps and how I would have gotten to complete it. It's still not going to be as good as actually completing it, but that will show that at least you had in mind what the solution was and how to get there, which will count for something.
Yep.
Another question. Oh, go ahead, Andrew.
No, I was going to do a summary. So you.
Cool. Yes. Okay. So another question is, do you have any tips or advice on how to best approach a take-home assignment?
Yes. How to best approach a take-home assignment? Well, aside from, I think, everything in the rubric here, which kind of encapsulates what I think makes for a good assignment, I would say for the approach, start by thinking through what your solution is going to be. Rather than just jumping in and writing code immediately, it's better to have an idea of where you're going with it. One tip that I like, and the way that I approach these sorts of things, is that before I start thinking about how I would tell the computer how to do this task, I would just think to myself, if all I had was like paper and pencil, I was doing it in my own brain and not trying to explain it to a computer, what would I do? How would I actually go through this? What are the steps that I would take? Or in this, you know, maybe not paper and pencil. Maybe I have the input text in a text editor, and I'm like, well, here it is in my Word document. I've got to go move stuff around somehow. What would I do? And then once I have that'll give you a clear idea of what the logic is to it and what the steps are to it before you start worrying about like syntax and program structure or whatever. And then you can take those steps and translate them into how do I tell a computer how to do those same steps. And that can be helpful. Did that answer your question? I don't know if that was.
Yeah, no, I think that was great. I think it's like, there's so much pressure with take-home assignments. And I feel like it's a very deer in the headlights situation a lot of the time, where you like get it and you're like, I don't even know where to begin. And I think that what we've been doing over the last 8 weeks with our Collabies at Collab Lab helps kind of figure out, okay, I'm given this issue that I know nothing about. I'm going to start by kind of like taking notes and, like John said, thinking through first before you jump in. And then I also am curious, do you ever have people supply like extra documentation, I guess, or like, a gift that kind of showed their approach and talks through more about like, what they're working on? And is that a good thing? Is that just kind of like, all right, easy does it, buddy?
No, that's great. We see that a lot in more senior engineers, partially because those exercises are more complicated. So there's a little more to explain about what they're doing and why. But it's great to include a README with your submission, even if it's just a simple thing, even if it's just here are the steps to run this code or whatever. Like that's still really good. If there's anything that you want to point out about your approach, if there's any assumptions that you made, like I wasn't clear about this in the instructions, so I assumed you meant this, and so that's why I did it this way. That's awesome. Please do that sort of thing. Even better than that would be ask, send an email or something and be like, hey, I'm not clear about this. What does this mean? I love it when people ask for clarification, both because it means that then they will know, but also because it makes it obvious to me that there's something that needs to be more clear about those instructions, so I can go update them. If you notice it in the moment as you get it, that's the best time to ask. But I think it's fine to reach out later if you have a question with an email or anything. That's totally fine. That's great.
And people should probably feel free in the Career Lab channel to, if they have questions that come up about the assignment, to just ask them there, because other people might have the same question. We can get it all kind of answered at once, right?
Yeah, that totally makes sense.
I
see there's a question in. Yeah.
Why don't you take the question in the chat first?
Yes, so I see there's a question in the chat. It actually looks like it's similar to what we were just talking about. Do you recommend ask questions to your reviewer or talk about your decisions with some updates about your progress daily? Or is it better into interview and talk about your work? I wouldn't necessarily give updates about the progress daily. I don't think there's any need for that. That would be probably too much. If you have any questions, obviously, like I said, definitely do reach out with those. I think other than that, we probably already talked about all the points in the question. But please ask again if there's something we missed. I see another one that says, is it okay if we add tests? I think that would be great. The original exercise actually requires tests. When we moved it here, we wanted to cut down the scope of it a little bit, so we're not requiring tests here, but you're welcome to add them if you like. I don't think there would be any problem with that. That's another thing, by the way, that I would definitely ask the interviewers. Different interviewers are going to have different opinions about whether there should be tests or not. Some of them are going to ding you extremely heavily if there are no tests, and so you want to make sure you know if those are expected. Others, you don't care. That's not what they're there for, and so you can, depending on if you feel that tests make you go faster or slower, you might be able to get done more faster by testing manually or something for a very simple problem.
Yep.
I like to highlight what John said about like your take-home assignment should be a like proper reflection of how you work. So if the way that you work is that it's test driven, like do that. If you're confident in doing that and you think you can get it done on time. If you maybe don't have time, but you still kind of want to do the same thing, maybe start your first commit is that pseudocode like John was talking about. And then your second commit, remove some of that pseudocode so they can kind of see your like step-by-step of how you think and how you work.
I wonder if it'd be worth actually going over the instructions. So I realized we didn't do that. And then if people have initial questions about what's actually expected out of the kind of finished app, then we can get some of those answered. If you could maybe bump that up a little bit too.
Yep, let me do that. All right, so
cool, perfect.
So what we are asking you to do is to create a React app that formats text into paragraphs. And as you've seen, the React app itself is largely already there. There's just one method where text comes in, and it could look like anything. Maybe it looks like this. And what we'd like you to reformat that is just to do some line wrapping and remove any extra white space. There are some specific rules for what that looks like exactly. So line length is 80 characters. If there's, where do you break it? If there's a very long line, what do you do with that? Or a very long word that you can't break, how do you handle that? And so on. It does actually mention here that you can use a testing library if you'd like to, but the main code can't require any additional libraries or resources beyond what's in the standard built-in libraries. So there are libraries out there who would do this start to finish for you. That would kind of defeat the purpose. We'd like to see that you can do it, and a lot of code samples are going to be like this. A lot of them are going to say, like, please do not use anything outside of the standard library, for that reason, because you can always find a library that'll do the whole thing. And they don't want to make any judgment calls over, is that too much or is that, I don't know. And so to keep it consistent, it's just use the standard library. We mentioned the criteria broadly that you'll be judged on. You've seen the whole sheet, so you know all the details there. Text is provided. Yes, and this sample input text is built in already. I think you should be able to enter whatever text you want. There are some classes of errors that this sample text will not catch. Like, for example, this only does one thing per line, and there's also, I don't think there's any very, very long words in this. So you feel free to use your own sample text as well. Oh yes, and we could include some additional examples of badge paragraphs in the README. Yep, totally.
When y'all are doing this, if you like have a little extra time to like submit a PR with your extra examples or something, that'd be cool.
Yeah, that would be awesome, and I think that would be a great way to help make this exercise a little more helpful. I think a lot of exercises that you get won't have that kind of thing, and they will expect you to come up with all the inputs to test all the error cases. Yeah. So I would definitely encourage you to think about, like, what are the kinds of input that might come into here, and test on all of those.
I love that. Does that make sense to everybody? Like, what is required?
I just have a few clarification questions. Sorry about my cat. So once we finish this, they want to go outside. Once we finish this, do we submit it directly to the mentor who's doing our technical interview? Do we just like DM them and let them know? And I guess I'm just trying to understand the weekly cadence. I know we have, like, on Tuesday we have those 2 interviews. We're gonna, like, those 2 videos. So do we want to submit it both by Tuesday to our mentor? I'm just.
So the mock interviews start on Thursday. So basically you just need to have it done before Thursday, so that your interviewer, your technical interviewer, has time to look at it before the interview. So you have most of the week to do it. We do have a couple of other sessions this week, and there's pair studying on PRAMP and stuff. So yeah, it's going to be a little bit of a busy week. This is actually in the future, we may want to move some of that content into the first week, because the first week was really just about the LinkedIn profile. So, but yeah, anyway, hopefully that answers the question.
Right, so just to submit it by Thursday, you were saying, to directly to your mentor.
Yeah, you can just DM the mentor and say, hey, it's ready. So it's ready. Let's schedule our technical interview at your convenience.
And then just one more step of clarification. Yeah. So I was noticing, for the job fit interview, do we want to have the same, obviously we're not submitting this, but do we want to just DM our mentor maybe today and set up a time to do that interview as well?
Yeah, you can. Those are meant to happen later in the week too, just to kind of keep your time and attention free for these other things. But whenever your LinkedIn profile is ready, then you can DM the other mentor who's doing your job fit interview and say, okay, my profile's ready, and let's schedule our interview.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. Okay.
So I see another question in the chat, and this is about kind of edge cases on the inputs. That is a really, really good question. That is, I think, the sort of question you should definitely be asking when you're in an interview. How do I handle this edge case? So it's ambiguous about that. What do I do? For the purposes of this exercise, I would say if you get a blank input, empty string isn't violating any of these rules. So that's perfectly fine. You can just return an empty string. But it's really good to ask. I would definitely ask those sort of clarifying questions whenever they occur to you. A lot of the time, one of the things interviewers are looking for is that you will try to clarify the requirements before you just immediately jump in. That's a specific point that they will be looking for you to do sometimes.
That's really good to know.
Yeah.
One thing that I'd love to see from those of you who are like out there interviewing right now, as you like come across technical interviews and like notice wacky things or experience different things, you should drop that into like the Collab Lab channel somewhere so that everybody can kind of be like, oh, that's a thing that happens. Okay.
Yeah, job searching channel would be great for that kind of feedback. Cool.
I feel like there's something else. Oh,
go ahead, John.
Okay. So just to let you know, one of the styles of technical interview that we have planned is to add a feature to the code that you come up with here. And that's why we want you to have it done by that date. I don't know, is that the only style we're doing? Or are we also doing the just question and answer style interviews as well?
Well, I think you'll have an hour. So,
okay.
You know, if you can maybe have them add a small feature and then maybe review what they did, and then give them time to ask questions, and then leave 10 minutes at the end for you to give feedback on the interview. So like that's sort of the format for that.
Got it. Okay. Sounds good.
This was great. Even just from these conversations and the Q&A here at the end, I've gotten a lot of feedback about Career Lab that we can implement to make things much more clear and easier flowing. So thank you all.
Yeah. So, but this is something I've seen people show up to technical interviews where we're gonna review their exercise, and they don't have it running. They don't have it kind of up and ready. And that to me is like, I mean, we're going to be talking about it. You're going to like, and so when we get to the point like, oh, could you show us in the code where this happens? They're like, oh, let me bring it up. It's like, show up to the interview prepared. You know what I mean? Like, and in this case too, like you might be, we might ask you to add a feature to it, right? So have it up and running, have your code editor all ready as if you're about to build something in it. So you can show it working and walk through the code and those kinds of things, and that'll just make everything. It'll just make you seem prepared, and it'll make the whole interview go more smoothly.
I tried to keep up with the chat. Did I miss anything in there? If I just scrolled back.
I don't think so. I think we're caught up.
Okay.
Any other questions that people have?
We'll try and do a good kind of recap in the Slack channel about like what the timeline looks like this week, because I know it's a lot and it seems a little complex. So if you think that for some reason you can't get to something, just keep us all in the loop.
Yeah.
I know I always have so many questions. I have one more question about the LinkedIn stuff. So I submitted my LinkedIn to my mentors, and I received their feedback. And one thing is I haven't gotten to write those recommendations or receive them yet. And I want to do that. And I've reached out this morning. I know, Andrew, you mentioned something about the LinkedIn needed to be done before we can move on to the next one.
Yeah, but that's a part that's sort of out of your control. So I wouldn't say it's not done until you get those recommendations, but make sure you make the requests and give a recommendation.
Right, and I offered to give recommendations as well to all the my cohort members. But so that's okay. That's a little bit in progress that I'm like kind of taking in the feedback from the mentors and applying that while I'm moving on to the take-home test.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just wanted to double check.
Yeah, good question.
Thank you.
I did actually have one more thing that occurred to me that I just wanted to mention. I'll probably go back and add this to the README at some point, but we have provided a single function where this happens. Don't feel constrained to only use one function for this. It's fine, it's probably advisable even to break it out into a few different functions to do the various things that you want to do. So just because that's the structure at the moment doesn't mean you shouldn't break it out further if needed.
All right. You feeling prepared? I know this was a little bit not as tight as it could have been because it is a pilot and we're doing it for the first time. But we will, we'll kind of get it down to like the succinct description of how it goes and the sequence and all kind of stuff for next time. But thanks for bearing with us. Any last minute questions or anything? How are y'all feeling about it?
I have something
Yeah.
to add, just in case. So if we have more questions, even in Spanish, so feel free to ask them or to reach out in DMs or in the channels. So don't worry about that. We got you covered. And about the interviews, I would say that for this home assignment, my recommendation is that don't forget that you will always work with more people, like it's teamwork. So the solution, as John stated, doesn't need to be over-engineered. So the important part is that it's readable and something that someone else can take on. So it's like, try to make it that another person can easily work on that, based on that. That's
Juan,
like my suggestion.
Yeah, it's a really good point. Juan, could you say the part about that we had to have you covered if you're a Spanish speaker in Spanish as well for the report?
Oh, yeah. Great point. Entonces, para los que hablan en español, pues si tienen alguna pregunta, pueden preguntarle acá o pueden preguntar en los canales, en los channels de Slack, y que nosotros ahí los ayudamos. Entonces, cualquier pregunta nos dicen. That's it.
Cool. Excellent. All right. I think we're done, right? We done? Yep.
Yep,
Cool.
I think we're good.
And that's a great, let's pick that one up async in the channel, Alejandro, about examples of what does over-engineered mean. So that's a really, really good question. Cool. Thank you so much. I will post a recording soon. And then, yeah, just if you have questions that come up, just ask us in the channel.
Yay, let's do it. Y'all can fork this and clone it and get started whenever you're ready.
Yep.
Thank you so
Cool.
much, everyone. This is great. This is so helpful.
Cool.
All right,
See you
everybody
later.
have a good week. Ask in
Yeah.
Slack if you need help. Bye.
See ya.